Good morning, everybody. This is DearMamaSal. 4 degrees in Canada, which is 39 in the US, and it's actually a nice morning. The sun's trying to burn the cloud away. There is overhead cloud at the moment, but you can feel that the sun's trying to get rid of that. I don't know if it'll make it or not, but it's trying. You can just sort of, I don't know how to, you can tell by the light in the clouds that it's like, okay, the sun's up there somewhere trying to get through. And it was a pretty weekend where we are. I know that there's part of me that's doing a guilt trip saying I should have gone out and played in the garden a little bit, but I didn't. I did other stuff, but that would have been a good idea. It was a busy weekend for me. Lots of fun with the broadcasts as usual, and really enjoy the fact that more and more people are deciding to take that risk and come and join us. And finding out that it actually is quite funny most of the time. And that we cover a whole range of subjects. I mean, we discussed everything this weekend from over the various broadcasts, and in most of them we covered the same material in different ways. Obviously we cover, just because it's of interest to people, what's going on in the news, but also, what's going on in people's lives. So it's like our newspaper almost, with how everybody's lives are going. And I'm just trying to think. Some sad news, Sarah Beth, and for those of you who want to catch up on that, just check the Facebook page. I'd rather not do that publicly. That when I say publicly, I know that the real subscribers are inclined to follow the Facebook page, so I'm going to leave that for you to check it out there. And also, Melanie gave us a really nice update about the funeral for Tommy, and we also had another major update, and I can't remember who it was. Never mind. Ashley. Yes, Ashley, that's right, on Princess, her dog. Amazing stuff, this whole story about her dog. What I love about what we are doing in supporting one another to this degree is that we're all learning stuff that really we didn't know a whole lot about. And it's been really quite interesting to be able to sort of go, wow, I'd never heard of that. And Ashley's dog, for example, has serious autoimmune problems and has allergies, has normal allergies, as regular people would, but also has these other things going on because of the autoimmune problem. And it's really terrifying to hear. And I'm so glad that she came on to the broadcasts, and we were able to give her some tips as to how to get some, because her dog wasn't drinking any water, and so was getting dehydrated, and it was a weekend, and you know how expensive it would have been to go on call. So we managed to give her some ideas about how to get her dog to take some water in. And one was a tip that came from Nana, and that was to actually put some water on the dog's nose, and it would instinctively take the water off the nose. And from my experience with sick dogs, I suggested that if she has a small syringe, to just quietly put a little bit of water, into this area here, And then again, same thing, automatically they would get rid of it, swallow it. And the thing was, she didn't have a syringe, so I don't mean with a needle, I mean without a needle. Before already been thinking, inject the thing, no. This is just the syringe part without the needle. So then she said to me that she didn't have that. And I said, well, try a turkey baster. Because, you know, it's Sal. You know, I always have this weird outside-the-box thinking. And the good news was she did, and it worked. And so that was great. Really happy that it worked. So, as you can tell, excuse me, I've got dog hair somewhere. Or Sal hair, I'm not sure. Anyway, wow. You know, I was telling you about these little townhouse type things. Well, they're not townhouses, they're houses on individual tiny little lots. 700,000, starting from 700,000, 699, 900, sold out. The whole lot gone. And they are cheek by jowl, side by side, no gardens. Just, oh. Sure, they're fairly big houses, but they literally are, you can almost touch. I would think two people with their arms outstretched would be able to touch from one house to the other. And no garden to speak of. In other words, I think there's probably enough room to put a barbecue, and that would be it. I don't mean a barbecue and then a lawn. I mean, I think they've got about enough room to put a barbecue there. Wow, that is amazing. Mind you, I guess that's what people want these days. They don't want to be mowing lawns, and they don't have time. And, you know, I just remember the days when we did. Oh well. Scary stuff. I had a really nice chat with Benji. Oh, that water's way down today. We're back to having a regular river. I spoke with Benji over the weekend, which was great, and I heard a little about what was going on with everybody and how it was all working out. And luckily, Benji and Judy are two very smart people, and they know exactly what's going on in terms of the stress levels. They know that they're going to be punishing the people nearest to them, and they understand that. And thank God that they are smart enough to see all of that the way that they do. I'm very proud of them. So, and I still got to tell you something in terms of I don't know many husbands that would do what Benji does on a daily basis, and I've got to say that. So I am really very proud of them both. And you know, it's so cute because Judy's so honest as well, and I think that's really a very important part of their relationship, that they are very straight with one another, and it's great. And one of the things, I asked that of Melanie, by the way. You know, Melanie, who took in her ex-husband when he got cancer and saw him through to the end and really, you know, looked after him. And I asked her how she coped. How do you cope with watching that happen? You know, how do you cope with that? And she said that the only way she could cope was to be brutally honest. And she encouraged him to do the same. So, you know, it was okay for him to say he was terrified or that he hurt or whatever. And then she in turn, you know, it was okay for her to say she was at a loss because she didn't know how to help him or whatever it was. And they kept really very, very honest. But I really heard that in that they found great comfort. She didn't put on, from what I can gather, you know, this incredibly brave face and pretend that, you know, she was coping brilliantly when she wasn't. But she did cope brilliantly, and the way she did it was to be honest. And I thought that was a great lesson for us all. And I would ask that of us all. How many people are we not being honest with? You know, for fear of hurting them, or for fear of upsetting them, or for fear of whatever. And the reason I bring that up, because, you know, I've got a friend of mine who is pretty religious. And she's busy going through a process. I guess it's like a 12-step process, but just in terms of healing your heart. And one of the interesting things that whenever I talk to her is she also brings up this whole thing about, you know, part of the reason that we all get sick and addicted and all these things is because we're not honest. Part of the reason that we get into trouble in relationships is because we're not honest. Part of the reason we get people into, you know, people get themselves into battered women syndrome or battered men syndrome in some cases, and all those sort of things is because we're not honest. You know, when somebody up and beats us out of their anger, we don't turn around and say, "Excuse me, that's unacceptable behavior," and walk out the door. You know, because honestly, we know that's unacceptable behavior. I mean, it's Stonehead behavior. And so if you can't control your anger, don't take it out on a weaker person or a child or whatever. And I really do believe that if we could teach people that understanding that, to be that honest, which is, "Excuse me, you do not get to do that to me." And if we could encourage people to know that, and walk, or have, you know, throw those people out, before it gets any more violent or any more destructive. And the same way as I believe that we do need to call people on their shit, and excuse my language here, but you know, I am fed up with people giving me excuses, for example, for bad behavior, or, you know, that well, you know what I mean. It's just like, you know, we've all got a wagon load of problems. We've all got a lot of things to deal with. So just get over it and get on with life, you know. And it's not that anybody's life is that much easier. We've just got different things we're coping with. Now, there was a great example this weekend about fear. Because I knew that I needed to go and see my bank this weekend, because my 5-year term on my mortgage, I actually have a 30-year mortgage, but the 5-year term in terms of the interest rate is going to expire, and so I went to have a meeting with my bank, and I had fear because I thought, gosh, I'm now over retirement age. I've gone down to 4 days a week. My income has been affected accordingly. I'm managing to hang in there, sort of. Okay, really? I've got a person driving. Okay, crawling. Ah, they're obviously trying to find a road. Could you find it in a hurry, please? Anyway, my fear was that, for some reason I would not qualify. And there was a level of fear in that one. Thank goodness I found out that I'd already pre-qualified for as long as the term of the mortgage. The interesting thing is I would only have to re-qualify if I wanted to pull out more of my equity out of the house. And really that is a process that I will probably do again in about 5 years, if I need to. So, and I honestly was pretty scared. Only at a certain level, because I was pretty sure that the bank would want to keep me as a client. I've been a client of theirs for nearly 30 years, so I was pretty sure they were going to want to keep me. But when so many of the decisions that are made today are made by a numbers game or whatever, and you always get scared. You don't know what their new numbers are. It's by the number of teeth I've got, or what color I dye my hair or don't dye my hair. And talking about my hair, have you seen how much it's grown? Just looking at it this morning, I'm going, whoa! And I think I've got another 2 weeks to go before I have it cut again. So that's a bit scary. In 2 weeks' time, that's going to be a lot of hair. It's already a lot of hair, so 2 weeks from now, it's going to be a lot more hair. Okay, so go back to, let's try and work this week on being honest about stuff, and also not being, victim to stuff. I want to compliment, I had at least 2 people write to me this week because of the fact that I've given up smoking, and they're both smokers. And one is thinking about quitting. And well done. I'm really proud of you for that. And, keep thinking about it. Keep thinking about it, and eventually you will do it. And the other one has quit but is struggling. Well, yes, I totally understand that. Been there, done that. And busy telling her that the way that I did it was I kept talking back to the addiction. So when I got the craving, I go, I hear you. I hear that you want me to stop and have a cigarette. I actually don't smoke anymore, so I just want to tell you that I will stop and take a break and rest a little bit, because that's probably what you need. And I really did always try and listen to my body. In other words, was the addiction there because I didn't stop, and I stopped to have a cigarette so that I would rest, and that was my body's way of getting me enough rest. And so what I did was that I started to realize that that could be a good thing if I listened. So I would feel that craving and go, okay, fine, I hear you. You need me to stop for a moment or just take a break for a few minutes. And I would do that. You know, I'd go and check on the emails or go and make myself a coffee or do something, but you know, basically take a break. And that way, you know, I listened to my body, but I also ignored the fact that what I needed was a cigarette. And I would say that, no, a cigarette is not what I need, because I've given up smoking. I'm a non-smoker, is what I used to say. And then I'd carry on with taking a break in some other way. And I found that really helped, because if I got quite a few cravings in the day, you know how many times I was saying, actually, I'm a non-smoker, so I won't be doing that. I kept reaffirming that I was a non-smoker. So, and what I also said, do whatever you need to do not to smoke. Now, because I think of all the issues, just not smoking, if you can get through it, is the thing. It's a very difficult way to be. Ah, there's my bud. And she left me a space, isn't she kind? Uh-oh. This is DearMamaSal saying, be honest. Bye for now.